this house, it's not just a house, it's the perfect Idaho-esque way of life. We have the Payette River leading into Black Rock Canyon. We've got the Emmett views. We have every single amenity we can possibly imagine with an energy efficient home, and we can be sitting in the house with Wi-Fi, working from home, just overlooking this incredible view. I'm just not sure there's anything more perfect than this.
Yeah, I think so. It was a fun house to build. And yeah, it has everything. You can sit in the living room, look at this view, and be typing up a report that you instantaneously send to somebody across the country, right? You know. I think the way we built this home was with a lot of intention, if to put it maybe kind of simply and start there. Intention was a real driving factor with this project, and the intention was to build a healthy home, one that functions well, one that utilizes the natural surroundings and what we were given, like on the site. And that's important to do. You don't want to fight, you know, with the build. And how you start anything is typically how it ends. So with this, we were really cognizant of the design of the house on the site, and then utilizing the things that we typically utilize, like passive solar.
What's in these exterior walls?
It's the straw is some of it. The other is conventional. So we build straw bale hybrids, and that's what this is. There's some engineering reasons for that and some other considerations, but the primary insulative factor for the wall assemblies of this house, like in the heavy hitting areas, like maybe the west side, is straw.
So it doesn't look like straw bale from the outside. So what do you put on that for the exterior walls?
Yeah, you can only tell a straw bale when you walk through like a door or you see it at a window. Plaster, so plaster, lime plaster. Lime is a protectant, antimicrobial as well. As a side note, so you know, these are healthy homes as well. Once again, we approach this as a healthy project, and that's what we do for all of our projects. This one was no different, but we really tried to go the extra mile on that. So plaster is what is commonly used to protect the straw. And it
this
also
isn't
allows
stucco, it's different.
Correct, yes, correct. Not stucco. You know, we can get as technical as we want, but stucco doesn't have the permeance rating that plaster does. You can use stucco. There are stuccoed straw bales, but we're kind of old school, and I like to do things that are tried and true, low tech, that has really high impact, and that's what this is. This is a straw bale wall system that is literally a bale of straw stacked up in a running bond, like bricks that are stacked 50-50, with plaster on both sides. That creates a vapor neutral wall assembly. So we're not trapping moisture. One of the big questions that I get, one of them is, well, everybody sees like straw bales that are like left out in the rain, they get moldy and stuff. It's not the same at all. And that's for two reasons, because one, rain doesn't get on it, and the plaster, given its permeance, lets the wall breathe. It says that the wall breathes on its own, so it does this passively. We don't have to do this mechanically. We're not introducing mechanical systems to do this for us.
So I think straw bale, and I immediately think, okay, surely there's gonna be like tons of mice penetration, animals. It's gonna burn up in flames if a match gets near it. Tell me about that.
Yeah, good. Super common questions, get them all the time, and everything that you can think in your mind that could be a potential negative is quite easily proven to not be that, and is in fact the opposite. So let's start with like the mice thing. First off, it's straw, it's not hay. This isn't food or something that the mice are going to want to eat. There's nothing in the wall for them to eat. I don't even know, I like to say, like, I'm not even sure a goat would eat like wheat straw, and a goat will eat anything.
Yeah.
So what rodents and mice are looking for is a place of security, like a little home that's next to food. Let's just for a minute consider that a little mouse, even the smallest of mice, could actually get into the wall, which is going to be very difficult for them. Regular walls have cavities, and the insulation is rather loose, even if it's, quote, densely packed stuff. Very, very loose. Straw is very, very dense. So even if a mouse was able to get into the wall inside of the straw, he'd have a hard time getting around. He'd have a very, very hard time getting around. Whereas in a conventional wall system, once they get in it, they can travel all down it.
Right.
So that's one. They're looking for food. So what we commonly tell people who we're educating on straw bale is, if there's no food in the house, you don't have a rodent problem. Just like any other house or any other structure, whether it be like a barn or something that you're trying to like somehow regulate like rodents in or mice. Same thing for a house. Like, you keep a dirty house, you're gonna have mice and rodents. If you don't, you won't. I mean, it's 16 inches worth of dense straw that he would have to get through to even, and then he has other things that he has to pass through.
Right.
And it's not just straw on the outside with like plaster on it. There's some screening and things that we do at the base, some flashings and stuff that we use to not only protect the foundation, protect the straw, but also inhibit anything from getting in, water or, mice, right?
Yeah. And tell me about that fire rating.
Fire is one of the most interesting things to talk about, and I can go on and on about it, and I probably will. So, fire is super interesting.
So these straw bales that make the exterior of the home are locally sourced?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can get into like the carbon sequestration data and surrounding that. I'm not trucking my material that is a large part of this house. I'm not having to truck it very far. I'm keeping my money in the local economy. This is a community thing, right? It is we're finding farms that, we like to use pesticide-free stuff, and there's a lot of places out here that we get that from, multiple places. And I'm looking for densely packed bales.
Yeah.
So I got a real good guy in Cuna, and can source all of this green timber. Like, I don't have to have it from a manufacturer that's getting it from Washington or Oregon or Canada. I can get it right here in Idaho, and I've got a guy that I like to use up in Idaho City. Ability to source locally with this construction method is not something that is just like a point that I'm just gonna make offhand. To me, it's a really big one.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's huge for our economy too. Tell me about kind of like our HVAC system and how we heat and cool. Solar system. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So with these structures, we have to define a couple things so that we understand that it all works as a system, because that's important. We don't just rely on the HVAC to heat and cool our home and to make it comfortable, right? Because that's what we're after. We're after comfort whenever we're inside a house. That can mean several different things to lots of different people. I want an HVAC system that is able to operate cleanly. We really try to reduce the amount of ducting in our house. So
Okay.
I like to offset with mini splits.
Okay.
There's no ducts. They're way cleaner. 3 dirtiest things in a house: crawl space, carpet, ducting.
And
Okay.
this has none of them.
Yeah, so we have none of those. We eliminate those. So from an HVAC standpoint and from a thermal comfort standpoint, we accomplish that in a few different ways. We do that with mini splits
That are ceiling mounted, which I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just out an exterior wall.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we were going in the ceiling and out through the top. Like, what if there's condensation? Tell me, is that even a thing?
Yeah, the condensation is a really good question. So these units do condensate, as opposed to like a central air handler, that's one point of condensation. These mini splits that we have, like right there, each head unit condensates. That condensate has to be dealt with. I don't like to bring them to the exterior. Sometimes we have to, because to get to where I like to bring them, which is a sink, whether it be a lab sink or a kitchen sink,
Yeah.
or a dishwasher, a washer box. If we can't make it there, then I will put it outside. And sometimes we have to do that. But I want to limit those openings. And I want to make sure that those condensate lines are at the most extreme grade that I can possibly put them at.
John, tell me about how the whole house kind of works as one system.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's important to note because it truly works as a whole system on its own. Lots of little things make something significant, right? Typically not just one thing.
Right.
So this house is no different. Like all these windows right here, it provides us with a really great view. It's also southern exposure.
Right.
The sun rises in the sky, travels along a southerly arc, right? So if we orient our glazing to the south side, then we're going to get this thing called passive solar exposure, and that's solar heat gain through our glazing, and it's going to extend back into the house. So we don't want it in the summertime. That's when we want to keep our house cool, but we do want it in the winter. Well, the nice thing about the sun is that it is lower in the sky in the winter, so we get about 18.5 feet of solar exposure.
And that plays into concrete floors.
Plays into concrete floors, so our concrete slab on grade does two things. One, it's way more clean than a crawl space,
right,
like we talked about earlier, but it's also our heat bank, so it's doing double duty. It's not just here to be a really solid, clean surface. It is trapping heat and energy in it and then radiating it up, right? Not unlike radiant in-floor heat.
Right.
That's another way to do it. This is just a way low-tech way to do that. This particular site offers it extremely well. So we really put it to use. It costs nothing to do this, right?
Right.
We have the ability to orient the structure on the site, then that's what we do, we utilize. So we're trying to utilize everything that we possibly can, lots of little things, to make one thing that's really significant. Passive solar plays into that greatly. In the summertime, given some pretty simple geometry, it's about 23 degrees, the sun is lowest in the sky. The winter solstice, summer solstice, it's 76. Eve geometry says that I get between 30 and 36 inches worth of horizontal eve projection. The shadow line at the summertime when it's hot and I don't want that solar heat gain in the house, shadow line of the sun is right at the bottom of our windows.
That's
right over here.
So intentional
Isn't
and
it?
so incredible.
Yeah, and it's super simple. It seems like I don't know, something that's kind of mind-blowing, and the first time I learned about it, it was mind-blowing, but the sun does the same thing every year. It's really easy geometry. So we utilize that.
Yeah.
And we didn't come up with it, but we try to utilize it as much as we can. It's free.
Right. Tell me about
that's
this guy.
Here's another thing. This is a catalytic stove. You don't have to have something this nice, but this thing is so nice. It does two things. It burns up all the energy. It's super clean so that the smoke that comes out the exhaust you basically can't see it. Like, it's not like black or anything like that. Because the way these chambers in here work, it burns it all up before it exhausts out. So this thing is like, you can put your hand on it.
Yeah.
It's just like warm. This is a type of stone that really is very conductive. And because I'm putting it right on top of my slab, the homeowner is telling me that like this whole area right in here is warm.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of going through the slab and then radiating up. Ceiling fans most effectively circulate air in a structure better than anything. So when he was like, I want to put like a really cool, like one of these big ass fans because I love them. And I was like, great, that sounds good. And so we did it. The cool thing about this fan is that it moves really slow, but it moves a lot of air around. The energy input in is much, much less. With the air sealing that we do, the insulative capacities of the roof and the walls, the concrete slab is completely thermally broken from the ground, completely, which doesn't cost a whole lot more, by the way. But the net return on that is very great because when we do that, we get a structure that requires very little energy in.
And they have like little to no utility bills at all.
They have no utility bills. at this house. And we have PV, photovoltaic solar panels, that we're kind of harvesting some energy, but they need about half of the standard solar panels that like a solar guy is going to come out and he's going to do an audit on your place. They took half of them and they're netting more back to Idaho Power than they need.
That's amazing.
Because of the house, because it works as a system.
Right.
The mini splits, notwithstanding, big part of it. Like they use very little energy. They're great little things. You can position them all over the place. We're not worried about ducting. I can vault all sorts of stuff and not worry about duct runs, which can be really kind of some limitations there. Right. So we typically like to do a little mix. Use ducted and mini splits. And
we have locally sourced materials, the posts, the straw bales.
Yeah.
So much of this is helping our local economy too.
I can't say enough about that. I really can't. To me, keeping money in our local economy is what I want to do. I love it. I love supporting the local economy that we're in. It fosters a sense of community.
Right.
Like we're in it together. And because we are a community here.
Yeah. Let's talk about intentional positioning of the home, especially when we're talking about weather patterns.
Yeah, right on. Absolutely. I think it's really important. Not only are we considering, in green principle, the position of the sun, but also predominant wind direction and stuff. Up here, Squaw Butte is a beautiful area, but you get some wind up here, and we knew that going into it, and so we intentionally designed for that. If you have the ability, you can position certain parts of the house that are going to take the brunt of the wind or harsh summer sun off the house. And the garage is a great way to do that.
Okay.
And so we did that here. So the garage is positioned over here off to the west side. It's taken that harsh summer sun on the afternoon time, and it's taken this wind that comes down from like this direction right here, and it's keeping that away from the house.
Right.
We were not concerned with building the garage out of straw bales. We built it conventionally, and it is there to house the cars, but also protect the house. And I think it's just perfect for this place because, like I said, the wind comes down here and the garage takes the brunt of it. Same with the sun.
This property as a whole is just turning heads, not only because it's for sale, but also because it's kind of leading this coalition of going green, and the community is noticing that. Tell me more about the groups that are interested in products like this.
I don't know many people who aren't interested in green building or green design or doing green things whenever you understand, at least from my perspective, what I think green means. Back in the day, before this idea of green ever existed, it was probably back then just called like a well-built house. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we can go on to things like carbon sequestration and how the bales do that, and trying to not truck things as far, or not using, trying to use better materials that are non-toxic. Reusing things. That is the greenest principle I think that you can do, and it's real simple. I think once they kind of hear that definition, who have never heard about green or maybe have a negative connotation in their head, well, that's going to cost a lot more, or that's going to come with more time, or whatever. I'd submit to anybody that's not true, because it's not, because I do this for a living, and it, to me, it's a well-built house using some kind of Depression era mentality, like, well, let's kind of reuse, let's try to do things that make common sense and build a well-built house, and that's green building to me.
Right. John, we're talking about the energy efficiency, the low emissions, all these incredible products that go into it, and my mind immediately goes to oh, this is just gonna be aesthetically not pretty. I want the Wi-Fi, I want all the bougie things, I want running water. What is this missing?
Those things are present here. You know, we're not, maybe let me submit this to you. You know, there's no sacrifice that you have to make to accomplish this. And then I'd even go a step further to say, what more needs to be added to get what I'm describing, a green, high-performance structure built like this, you know, utilizing local straw bales, utilizing our local mills. It's the same thing.
It's all here.
Yeah, it's, you know, that'd be kind of foolish and extremely short-sighted to be like, oh, well, you know, we're green builders and we care about the environment and we care about like doing things in a better way, but then it costs more, like the structure is not affordable for like normal people, or it's like so high tech that it's out of the range of like what people think a house should be. It is a real mix of all that. That's how we do it. I've said many times like low tech things that have a big impact, or like little things that work as a whole. And so that's what this is. I mean, you still got your Wi-Fi and everything, but like this structure, to build something like this is not like more expensive or takes more energy or more goods, more renewable resources or non-renewable resource. It doesn't do that. In fact, it takes less, right? I'm using less solar panels. But I don't have to have solar panels to make this work. You know, maybe some people say, oh, well, that's a little high tech, or I don't like the idea of that, or whatever. Well, you don't need them. Like, the house is still going to function just the way it does with an extremely low energy load without me having to put, as the builder, like a whole lot more stuff in it. It's just doing things more intentionally.
This house is the literal definition of less is more.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. You know, you do things with intention, you do things in a way that makes sense, then you make things work together. Then, like I said, you put a whole bunch of things together and you end up with something that's great. Not trying to reinvent the wheel and say, oh, well, look how great solar panels are and we can go like net zero, net energy. That doesn't really work, right? Because you have to build the solar panels.
Right.
You have to pay for them. Holistically, we need to take lots of things together and make them into something great. That's what this does. And it does it like not at the expense of something else. It's a well-built house, built with intention, that functions as a unit, and that's green. You know, that's what green building is to me.
So you are never going to have obstructed views. The knoll is state-owned.
That lower one is on the property.
The lower one is never going to have a home built on it. He built all the way down at the bottom. So this view is never going to change or is ever going to be obstructed while you own it. This is what you get day in, day out. And the view changes every single minute of the day, from sunrise to midday to the cloud cover to sunset, watching the storms roll in. It's epic.
I think the coolest thing is you basically have Black Canyon Reservoir, which isn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
It's like your private lake. There's not too many people, and I don't know if I even want to say this on camera, there's not too many people that really use it. I mean, it's
right.
people in Emmett, and that's kind of it. Like, it's a really cool little lake that is kind of your own little private place because it's right there. We build conventional high performance. That's using building science, like new age techniques, but we do both. They have their uses. The price is the same. So what you see behind us is a custom house that is labor intensive. It's up on top of this beautiful hill. Whether I built this conventionally or whether I built this Straw Bale, which is, I call low-tech, high performance, it's the same price. I've done them both. They're the same price to get the same quality, the same product.
So if it can be the same price, why aren't more people doing it?
Because they don't know about it. They don't know. They don't have somebody like me standing in front of them who can intelligently and confidently answer the questions and like assuage their doubts.
Right.
And like, I don't know, sell it to them for like a lack of a better term. But you know, you don't really have to sell this because it kind of sells itself.
Agreed.
Once you know. I just think that's it. Because I'm too ignorant and stubborn to do anything else. And
I think it builds on who you are as a person, integrity-wise, because you're a military veteran as well. So you have that just heart for doing the right thing.
Absolutely. I got out of the military. I wanted to do something meaningful with purpose. You know, we talk about that all, you know, stuff like that all the time. And I had to do it, but there was no, well, maybe.
Right.
I had to find a way to do that. And I had to find a way to do something tangible, like just me personally. Like I like tangible stuff. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. What are we doing here?
Right. Legacy.
So that was part of it for sure. And then I was super fortunate to have somebody at the beginning of my career who was a master carpenter, master builder, and really drove home. He had a lot of like integrity, you know what you mean? And he just drove that home of this is what you do and you don't do it another way. Mm-hmm. We can accomplish the same things with just a little bit more, and we're gonna have a much greater impact for the little bit that we're putting in. So that was a large part of it. And Ron, my mentor here, the guy who founded Earthcraft, who started this company that, you know, I now own and run. I'm so fortunate to do it and so fortunate to know him. He's the same way. There are better ways to do it, and you know, this is kind of my take on that.
We've talked about this incredible project at length. If I'm somebody that wants all of this, the efficiency, the intentional design, the perfect placement on the lot, the competitive pricing, with this being just as much as a standard house, but let's say I want it in Emmett, or I want it in Boise, or maybe I want it as a cabin in like Garden Valley, or even McCall. How does the process work? How do we get a hold of you?
The first thing that I would encourage anyone to do is to get a hold of my favorite agent and see what kind of land is available, because that's the starting point.
Yes.
Start with the land.
Okay.
Once we have that, then we sit down with you, we listen to what you have to say. And that's where we start. And I want to know first and foremost that you know, we're going to be a good fit for you, and we're not spinning our gears. Everything starts at the beginning. Like I said earlier, how you start something is usually how it ends.
From beginning to end, we have the like back and forth interview. We agree that we're going to work together on a build job. What's the next step? How long is the step to when you're breaking ground to when somebody's moving in?
Typically, we just say a year and a year. It takes a year to design and a year to build. There's leeway on both ends. Usually it doesn't take us a year to design. Usually we're a little bit less than that. But taking it like all the way through permitting, getting all the stuff, you know, we're talking about engineered, fully permitted, all that stuff, all the additional permits that you may or may not need, hillside development, WUI, those things can add a little time. So we just say a year, and it's good to get started early.
We're finding the land with our favorite agent.
That's right.
Then we're interviewing each other, going over criterias, wants, needs, dialing in the system. We're working through our design process, getting permits, build, moving in about a year later. Yeah,
we're going to talk about high performance details, conventionally built, design aesthetics. And one thing to note, just briefly, we don't sign a contract with our clients during the design phase. And I think there's going to be some professionals, architects, whomever that hear this, or even customers who have built houses before. And they're gonna find that to be a little strange. Not to us. It's done intentionally, and it's meant to share a little bit of the skin in the game with our clients. It's meant to have our clients know from right off the bat, we understand that you're putting a lot of trust in us, and so I'm gonna put some trust in you. And I'm also gonna bet on myself that once I'm done with this design process, you see our design, you see how we approach it and how we work, our process. I'm betting that you're gonna want me to build it. So we're gonna build that trust early, and that's how we do. There's no contract that's signed during our design process. It's when that is done that we will sign our contract and move on to, funding and build.
How long does a client get you? You have gone through the whole entire build process. They've moved in. They're not sure how to work some of the dynamics or the amenities in the house. Is there a warranty? Do they get full access to you? Talk about long-term after they move into the home.
Absolutely. There are warranties that come with everything, whether they're manufacturer warranties that are pushed to you in a book that we give you that outlines everything at the end of the job, everything that you have in your home. You have workmanship warranties from the contractors who are doing the installations. You have workmanship warranty from me. Past all that kind of standard stuff, because of how we work and because of how I see my job, you can call me years later. I have people that I will drink a beer with on their back patio and just to hang out. Or, this gutter, we didn't want to put so many downspouts, and now I'm kind of regretting that. John, would you come over here and take a look at this? Would you meet here with me and the gutter guy who installed the gutters that's in this book that I referenced that shows exactly who it was? Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I do. It's more than just building a house. It's a service-oriented business. We are here to serve our clients, and so you can say that, but you gotta back it up too. So that's what I think.
It's not just a transaction, it's a long-term relationship.
No, I want to drink beer with you later. So that's my main motivation.
Beautiful. Yeah. Situated on 40 acres at the base of Squaw Butte, you're having epic views of the Payette River, the dam, and over all of the Emmett Valley. You've got an energy efficient custom home, but there's also a 60 by 80 shop that also has a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom apartment in it. This property has it all.